All right, hello everybody. This is Kiva. There's some things that I'd like to talk about today. Just I need to get some things off my chest. In the past, I've given some very minimal, just basic explanations for my inactivity and my lack of presence on this channel as just being dealing with life stuff, getting job situations sorted out, that general jazz. And I haven't really spent a lot of time talking about exactly what my situation is and why it affects my ability to upload on this channel. I don't really expect anybody to care all that much. It's ultimately my problem and nobody else's, but I thought I should at least talk it out some more before going anywhere else forward with this channel. So, um, back when I first started this channel, I was working in a movie theater as floor staff. I was getting paid minimum wage, which in the state of Mississippi is pretty low. Um, and I was getting paid part time. So it was, very, very little income, but it was enough to relatively subsist and do the things that I want to do for the most part. But I was never going to be in a situation where I could move out of my family's home and actually get my life together working in a place like that. But I still just, honestly, I probably would still be working there today if I could be, because it was one of the first times that I had a job that I just genuinely enjoyed having. Um, it kept me physically moving around, doing things and getting tasks done so that I felt like the work I was doing actually contributed to something. I could see the results of my labors and how they kept things functioning and running with the theater. I got to spend all day long around movies, which, as somebody who was raised on films, my father's a big culture buff. He loves books, movies, music, everything, and he's always been very serious about sharing that passion with me. As somebody who grew up on that, that was really important to me. That contributed to a lot of my enjoyment of the job, and also as a bit of an addict when it comes to carbonated soft drinks. That having access to basically free, unlimited movie theater soft drinks was definitely a pretty nice perk as well. Um, but not only that, the person who hired me, one of the assistant managers at the place, happened to also be one of my closest friends. And everybody else who worked there was wonderful. I mean, I immediately got really close with a lot of my coworkers. I mean, not like super close. It was pretty rare that I got a chance to spend much time with them outside of the theater. It did happen from time to time, but I mean, just being there with them, they were my friends. They weren't just my coworkers. They were people that I could talk to openly, and I just felt so comfortable and so happy getting to go to that place and spend time with people that I liked, doing work that I liked. So, to give a little of additional context, that was my third job since I got out of college. And every single job I've had since I graduated has been customer service work. First, I worked at a Walmart, and then I worked as a credit customer service representative at a call center. And I had started to get extremely burnt out with doing customer service work, and it was putting a lot of strain on me when I was at the call center. You know, hadn't even really been working that long, but I mean, I went to college to learn art, really. That's what I graduated in, and I know that's ludicrous to pursue a degree in art. There's almost nothing you can do with that, but that's what I chose to do, because that's what I believed that I wanted to spend the rest of my life doing. And I was encouraged to pursue what I wanted to do. So, I mean, I believed in it, and I believed that I could do something if I just gave it enough time and worked hard enough at it. But I guess the reality of the situation was ultimately I was going to have to seek some form of employment to at least keep myself afloat while I tried to work on my art. And one thing that I realized very quickly when I was trying to do art projects while working at those places was that the kind of attitude and the kind of mentality that working in customer service put me in after doing it for long enough made it very, very hard for me to be consistently productive. I was so burnt out after every single day that all I could do was just sit and listen to music or play video games or something, just something to, completely shut my mind down and not think about anything for a while. And I know that probably sounds like a bunch of just shitty excuses, but I'm not really well geared towards customer service. I definitely have a knack for it in terms of interacting with people. I can I can express this very convincing amount of sincerity in the way that I interact with people. It's something that I've just always had a sense for, with how to speak to people and how to express respect and kindness and consideration for people's situations. And it's not that I'm just really good at faking that so much as I'm able to really get in the mindset of that during those situations. But it's become harder and harder for me to do that and balance my sanity at the same time. And now I felt myself getting more and more irritable and just so frustrated with having to do this kind of thing because it felt so monotonous and I couldn't see any output from the work that I was doing at all. I would, spend all day long sitting in a chair in front of a computer dreading the next time my phone would ring so that I would have to start speaking to somebody. And I never felt like anything that I was doing there was actually contributing to anything. It just started to drive me crazy after a while. And around that time, some other things were happening. I was having a relationship issue, and I just sort of snapped. I ended up having to go see a therapist for a brief while to talk some things out and try to get level-headed. And then, due to some unfortunate timing and some situations with that company, I ended up losing that job. And that's when I got the job at the movie theater and things started to look up for a while. And that's why I was able to work on this channel at first and to create videos and create content, because I was in such a better place mentally. I definitely wasn't making as much as I was when I was working at the call center. I had less hours and it was a lower pay rate, but I was just happier in general. And it felt like I could focus enough on doing the artwork outside the theater that eventually, if I kept doing work like that long enough, maybe I could get in a position where I could do that as a full-time thing. I could find a way to make either a self-run business out of like the work I'm doing, or I could just find a way to support myself doing that kind of work all the time. Unfortunately, around halfway through last year, the movie theater closed down. And pretty much everybody who wasn't in a higher management position was out of a job. So I had to go job searching again, and this was a point where I was already sort of on and off with the content I was putting up on the channel, because I got really freaked out and messed up over a situation that was happening with somebody. It was personal. It was outside of work at the time, and that's when I almost had sort of a second almost breakdown comparable to what happened before, and that's when the channel got deleted. I'm still really pissed off at myself about that. It was a stupid thing to do. It was just immature and irresponsible, and there was no reason to do it at all. I just kind of wanted to get away from any sense of responsibility towards anything and just completely reset my life and try to look at doing something else. Eventually, I mustered up the effort and just the willingness to try and piece it back together and rebuild the channel and try to actually make some content again. But it's just been stuck in this really intermittent place since then. And that's because after I started seeking work again, I ended up getting a job at another call center. And this place has been just a nightmare for me ever since I started there. I can't really 100% blame that on the company itself. The company does have problems that they seriously need to address. I've talked to a lot of people there about them. Almost everybody who works in this place says that there's just so many things wrong with the company that it is not the kind of place that anybody should work at. But nobody seems to know why. And nobody's doing anything about it. So I don't know what's going to happen there. Honestly, I'm not the kind of person who can really, step up and try to make any sort of change within that company, especially when I'm at one of their lowest rungs of, status in terms of my employment there. But the job makes me miserable on just a really, really fundamental level. There's nothing about the job that feels worthwhile to me. Once again, it's a situation where I'm just basically providing some form of service to people, but the service doesn't even make as much sense as it did when I was working as credit services at my other job. This one is just, it's ludicrous. It's such a consistently problematic situation. None of the calls feel beneficial in any way, and it doesn't feel like I'm really helping anybody at all. It's so consistently frustrating. It's so stressful. I mean, to constantly think about the fact that I have to go into that place again each day and go through another 8 hours of sitting at this desk waiting for another pointless conversation with somebody. It's just, it doesn't feel worth it. It constantly pisses me off, and I'm having trouble keeping that attitude out of the actual customer service persona that I'm supposed to be keeping up with these customers. And today, honestly, I almost completely lost control while speaking to one of the customers. I ended up raising my voice and shutting them down and basically telling them in a more blunt way exactly what the situation was. I didn't, lose composure in any aggressive way. I definitely wasn't in any way antagonistic. I didn't insult the call or anything like that, but it reached a point where I realized I had lost control. I had gone too far, and if it continued like this, if I continued to have trouble controlling myself and keeping my attitude positive in this work environment, then eventually I was really going to snap on a customer, and I was going to actually just let loose all of this poison that I've basically just been storing up inside of myself every second that I'm up at that place. And I don't think I can do this anymore. I don't think I can keep doing work like this. if I'm going to be doing something that involves any degree of customer service, I have to have some kind of outlet to blow off steam while I'm doing it. I need to have some kind of physical activity involved, some kind of work that's keeping me moving around and focused on completing tasks. If it's just sitting there talking to people, then it's killing me in this slow, agonizing way. I just can't deal with shit like this. And I know this probably sounds like me bitching and moaning about first world problems, but there's something about me that doesn't click with this kind of thing. I don't understand how there are people in these call centers who have worked there for years and years and years and still just talk with the same monotone and the same, just complete lack of emotion towards what they're doing, because I can't shut my emotions down. I can't shut the anger and the frustration and every bit of impatience that I feel towards this down. I can't stop feeling this way. And I don't think that I have the kind of work ethic and the kind of mentality to handle this sort of labor. It doesn't work for me. But as I mentioned before, and I probably shouldn't be giving this kind of information out, it's nothing specific, so it probably doesn't matter, but I live in the state of Mississippi, and anybody who's familiar with the United States probably to some degree knows what the Bible Belt South is like. We have some of the lowest quality education in the country. We have just incredibly poor employment rates and really bad income levels in terms of just how much these jobs pay out. It's really, really hard to find good work in this state. It's not there. And especially for somebody who wants to do art or graphic design, it just doesn't exist. It's non-present. It's a no-starter. And I mean, one of the fortunate aspects of the world that we live in today is that there are ways that people can do this kind of work and just do it entirely through online media, where they're providing their services, design and art and those sort of things through online medium without actually having to be in an office working for a specific physical location. So I mean, it's not like I'm completely limited by living in this state, but for having something to keep me afloat and to keep me functioning and have a source of income so that I can stay alive, pay for the things that I need to pay for in terms of my bills, my food expenses, to do all of that in order to be able to keep doing art is something that I've just had a tremendously difficult time sorting out, because these jobs just don't work for me. And I've tried to get in the right mentality and the right state of mind and the right work ethic to do this stuff, but it just doesn't work. The longest I can stay at any one of these jobs is a year, and that's pretty much how it's been for each of my past jobs. I worked at Walmart for a year, then at this credit services call center for a year, then at the movie theater I lasted almost a full year and would have lasted longer had it not closed. And now I've been at this new call center for less than 5 months and I'm already losing it. It doesn't work. I can't make myself do this stuff anymore. And that's why I've been so non-present with this channel. That's a really long, ranty, roundabout way of explaining myself, but I can't make myself feel productive and involved in anything that I'm doing lately, because this work, it just sucks the life out of me when I'm there. And then all I can do when I get home is just try to find somebody to talk to, like chatting with some of my friends online when I'm gaming, or hanging out with a group of friends to meet up weekly to watch anime or some shit like that. I mean, that's pretty much all I do now, is just trying to find some way to de-stress after each bout of this shitty job. And I get it. That's the way it is for a lot of people. Very few people in this world like the work that they're doing. So they just have to find what they can to keep themselves from, you know, hating their entire lives whenever they're outside of their job. And then, you know, come Monday morning, here we go, right back at it again. I don't think I have the constitution to do that. I don't think I have the willpower to keep that up, to force myself to do something that I absolutely hate for 40 hours a week and then, you know, still try to do the things that I want to do as a creator. And I know that that's just, you know, it's a whiny, stupid problem, and there are a lot of people out there who have it a lot worse than I do and don't nearly bitch about it as much. But this is who I am. This is the way I am. I try to keep some perspective and I try to keep this stuff in check, but I just cannot do it anymore. I hit my limit today. I want to be able to work on this channel. Hell, I've been trying to get this one video completed for a while. I was doing another gaming type video, but instead I was going to do something with both the Muffet character and Sans character that I've been doing on the channel. And I recorded all the gameplay. I made numerous art pieces that I was going to work together into the video, and I started editing it all together. And as soon as I started doing the voiceover, as soon as I started recording, about 10 minutes into the recording, I just shut down, and I was like, "This is terrible. These voices don't sound right. Everything just feels so slapdash and pathetic." It kills my creativity and motivation to be in the position that I'm in right now. And that's it's a pathetic thing to say, but that's the truth of it. So I want to keep doing this, I really do, and I really appreciate all of the messages and kind comments that I've received. I'm sorry that I haven't been responding to them. I've been too ashamed to be honest. I've read every single message, every single comment, and I can't bring myself to say anything because I feel so, you know, worthless for pulling this crap again, for saying I would come back and I would try to upload daily and then just immediately, you know, dropping that ball. This channel's a joke. I've just completely failed this, and I still can't get it together. I still can't get my life in a situation where I'm actually doing the things that I want to do and doing it productively and responsibly. If I could drop this job and wake up every morning and work for 8 to 10 hours straight on creating art, creating content for a channel, and then go to sleep that night and then wake up the next morning and do it again, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Because that's all I want to do. That's all I ever wanted to do. But that's... I mean, you know... I mean, we all want that, you know, perfect dream job. That thing that we've always been passionate about and would rather spend our time doing as opposed to the shit that we end up with. Hell, I'd love to do art design for video games, or, you know, graphic design for big productive company like Disney or DreamWorks or something like that, I'd love so much to be doing something like that, because that's where an actual available and stable position could potentially be. But I mean, Lord knows I don't have the fucking talent for that shit. And it's just the amount of competition for any real company would be just impossible. It'd be insurmountable. So the only options I see are trying to do independent work and products that people might take an interest in enough for me to potentially support myself on those things. But it's just so unrealistic. It doesn't happen. Oh, God. I'm sorry. This is a really unnecessary rant I'm going on. I know nobody wants to listen to this, but I'm just I'm at the end of my rope here, and I don't really know what else to do. I don't know who to talk to about it or what my options are at this point. So I just had to get something out. If you want to, just consider this therapy, this being my way of dealing with my problems. Alright, I'll try to actually put something real on this channel as soon as I can. But this is all I can do right now. And again, I'm sorry to everybody who's been so incredibly kind and supportive towards me since I started this channel. You all deserve so much better than this, and I'm sorry that I'm just kind of a shitty person and bad at what I do. Okay, well, self-pity hour's over. Alright, thanks for everything, guys. And if you listen to this, then thanks for listening. Sorry for ranting endlessly about nonsense. Hope you're all having an alright day. I'll see you later.